The Battles of Lexington and Concord. A detailed narration. April 19, 1775. On the night of April 18, 1775, British General Thomas Gage, the Royal Governor of Massachusetts, dispatched a force of about 700 soldiers from Boston to seize and destroy military supplies reportedly stored by the colonial militia in Concord. Additionally, he aimed to capture key leaders of the resistance, Samuel Adams and John Hancock, who were believed to be in Lexington. Paul Revere's ride. Paul Revere, William Dawes, and later Dr. Samuel Prescott set out to warn the countryside of the British movement. Revere's famous ride began after seeing signal lanterns in the Old North Church, indicating the British movement by sea. He rode across the Charles River, then rode to Lexington, warning Hancock and Adams before moving towards Concord. Revere was captured by a British patrol, but was later released, though he did not continue to Concord. Dawes and Prescott continued the warning, with Prescott being the one who successfully reached Concord. Muster on the town green. Lexington's militia, under Captain John Parker, gathered on the town green, aware of the British approach. Parker's men numbered around 70 to 80, significantly less than the British force. The encounter. At dawn, the British vanguard, led by Major John Pitcairn, encountered the Lexington militiamen. Pitcairn ordered the militia to disperse and lay down their arms. There's some historical debate, but it's generally accepted that a shot was fired. The shot heard round the world, leading to a brief skirmish. The British fired a volley, and the militia, unable to withstand the disciplined British fire, dispersed. 8 militiamen were killed, and 1 British soldier was wounded. After Lexington, the British continued towards Concord, but word of their approach had spread. Militia companies from surrounding towns began to converge on Concord. At Concord, the British entered the town, where they began searching for supplies. The militia had moved most of the weapons and supplies to safety, but the British did find and destroy some materials. The North Bridge. A pivotal moment occurred here. While most of the British troops were in Concord, a detachment was left to guard the North Bridge. Around 400 militiamen gathered near this bridge. When the British attempted to reinforce their troops in town by moving more forces across the bridge, the militia advanced. The British fired first, but the militiamen responded, and in this brief but intense exchange, the British were forced to retreat back towards town, marking the first significant military action where colonial forces stood their ground against British regulars. Retreat to Boston. After their mission in Concord, the British began their return to Boston. However, by this point, the alarm had been widely raised, and militia from across the region were mobilizing. Guerrilla warfare. On their retreat, the British faced continuous harassment from militiamen employing guerrilla tactics. Local farmers, townsfolk, and militiamen attacked from behind trees, walls, and houses. The British column was stretched thin, and their disciplined lines were broken by the irregular warfare. Critical points of engagement. Merriam's Corner. Militia from Bedford fired upon the British here, marking the beginning of this long, harried retreat. Bloody Angle. At a bend in the road near Lincoln, colonial forces managed to inflict significant casualties on the British. Menotomy. Now Arlington. The British faced some of their heaviest fighting here, with snipers from every direction, causing many casualties. Return to Boston. By the time the British reached Boston, they had suffered about 273 casualties. 73 killed, 174 wounded, 26 missing, while the Americans had approximately 95 casualties. 49 killed, 39 wounded, 5 missing. Aftermath. The battles demonstrated that colonial militias could stand up to British regulars, and that the war was not going to be a quick suppression, but a prolonged conflict. News of the engagement spread like wildfire, galvanizing the colonies. Militia units from as far as Connecticut began to march towards Boston, leading to the siege of Boston. These clashes marked the beginning of the American Revolutionary War, pushing the colonies towards declaring independence. The battles of Lexington and Concord were not just military engagements, but symbolic events that captured the spirit of resistance and the beginning of a fight for independence. They showcased the readiness of the colonists to defend their liberties, the effectiveness of their intelligence network, and set the stage for the long struggle ahead. Introduction to the quiz. Let's explore the key moments of the battles of Lexington and Concord through this short quiz. These events on April 19, 1775, ignited the American Revolutionary War, showcasing the determination of the colonial militia against the British forces. Quiz questions. What was the objective of the British expedition led by General Thomas Gage on April 18, 1775? A. To capture George Washington. B. To seize military supplies in Concord. C. To negotiate peace treaties with the colonists. D. To establish a new fort in Lexington. Who among the following was not directly involved in warning the countryside about the British movement? A. Paul Revere. B. William Dawes. C. Samuel Adams. D. Samuel Prescott. At Lexington, who led the British vanguard that encountered the colonial militia? A. Thomas Gage. B. John Hancock. C. John Parker. D. John Pitcairn. What significant action took place at the North Bridge in Concord? A. The British captured Samuel Adams and John Hancock. B. The first shots of the war were fired here. C. The colonial militia stood their ground, forcing the British to retreat. D. The British found and destroyed all the military supplies stored there. Which of the following was not a notable point of engagement during the British retreat from Concord to Boston? A. Bunker Hill. B. Merriam's Corner. C. Bloody Angle. D. Monotony, now Arlington.